Hello, guys. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Reed Wheeler, and today with me, I have a very cool, interesting guest with us
Sure.
on the Honors podcast. James, would you like to introduce yourself?
Welcome to the Honors Podcast.
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is James Fitzpatrick. I'm a senior here at High Point University. I'm an honors student. I also am vice president I'm the president of the College Democrats, vice president of the North Carolina College Democrats, and secretary of the Screenwriters Association, where I also function as a producer role and writer.
And what are your majors?
Oh, right. My major is political science and media production.
Nice. Love it. Okay. That's some pretty cool campus involvement. I didn't know you were involved in all that.
Yeah.
I kind of just wanted to hit you with
Sure.
a big question, be like, thinking about our co-class we took together, media
Ooh.
and critical analysis with Dr. Trammell. Shout out.
Shout out.
I wanted to hear your thoughts on, is the invention of movies a good thing?
Oh, absolutely. So without movies, firstly, movies are my favorite form of media. I think that they have a potential to do a lot of good. Movies have the potential to teach us about other perspectives and other lives. One great example is Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, which tells a great story about racism in a Brooklyn community and really makes you a part of that community, something that a lot of people aren't privy to. We get a different point of view. Also, movies are just awesome.
Do you like our modern culture, especially for our generation of like instant on-demand entertainment of anything we want, especially kind of in just general brain rot territory?
We absolutely get too many. I think instant gratification is kind of a bad thing. There's a lot of corporatization. We're turning everything into content. Things are getting put into instant gratification. We are often getting TV shows that are just blasted out to us in a total package that we binge in a day. And if you don't binge it, you miss out, and everyone has already seen the show and moved on to the next thing. It's almost like an assembly line of things kind of getting shoved down our throats. Long gone are the days where you would watch an episode of a TV show every week, discuss it the next day, and have some time to think about what's been going on. We kind of just are primed to consume the new Marvel movie. There's a new Marvel movie every 3 months that we forget about by the time the new one comes out. And I think that's kind of a problem. Movies are treated as less of an art form as they are a product. Franchising has been a big thing. I like some franchises, but things are getting constantly rebooted and repackaged. Harry Potter's having a new show that we really don't need. I like the DCU, but it's still sort of a franchise, and I'm afraid that it's going to be less of art and cinema as it is a new brand to sell merch, tickets, etc.
That's good. Oh, that's really interesting. I didn't think about it that way. So where do you hope movies kind of redefine or reinvent themselves in the way you would appreciate it?
Well, I would love it if movies contain self-contained stories. One of the best eras of cinema is the 70s, where we would have these sort of director-driven movies. So Bonnie and Clyde, Doctor Strangelove, Jaws. So that's Spielberg, Kubrick, etc. Brian De Palma is another great example of these just self-contained stories that explored interesting themes rather than being a setup for this giant franchise. I just want to see these self-contained stories. I think Sinners is a good example that came out this year.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I have not. It's on my list, but I'll watch it now since October is here.
Yeah, it's a very good. I keep saying the word self-contained, but it's just a movie that's not made to set up
anything else.
franchise, and it was still very successful.
Yeah.
And I love it for that.
Have you seen the recent K-pop Demon Hunters?
I have not.
Really?
No, I've heard some good things about it.
Because I think it's a similar case with Sinners, what you're talking about. It's a good self-contained short movie.
Yeah.
But if you look at like the context, the content of it, and like the pitch idea for it, it would make more sense as a TV show and kind of what is commercially successful in today's market. But they did it as a hour 45-minute TV show or movie, and it was so successful. Yeah. But then everyone immediately is like, we want a sequel, we want more. And I was like, no, the story is good on its own. It's a self-contained unit, and like you don't need any more.
And people forget that back in the day, a lot of the times you would have to wait a while for a sequel. It was like 8 or 9 years between like the Terminator movies, the first 2 Terminator movies, the first 2 Alien movies. Even the Star Wars movies were years and years apart, or originally like 70s and 80s. And that gave us time to sort of watch and rewatch the film, to digest the film, rather than just immediately moving on to the next one. Yeah. And I think there was some strength in having the time to sort of really build up, take the time to write and refine a film, rather than immediately moving on to the sequel 2 years later.
Nice.
Yeah.
What were some core movies for you back in your childhood, back in the day?
I was a huge Disney fan. I think a lot of the Pixar movies were great. The Toy Story trilogy, I think, is one of the best series of movies of all time, for children or for otherwise. When I was 11, I snuck. So I had an iPad with a couple of films downloaded from the cloud. My parents had bought the Godfather trilogy, and I sat and I watched The Godfather for the first time. I was not allowed to watch The Godfather.
When you were 11.
Yes. Very violent. A lot of sex. Not a lot of sex, but some sex in it. And am I allowed to say sex on the podcast? Okay. Sorry, Nito. But it really changed my idea of what movies could be. It was this long drama. It's mostly talking and build up. And it just captivated me. And then later on, that led me to sort of get my interest in film for these longer dramas. I know there's a lot of like stereotypical film bro movies that I love, that are these sort of drama focused on men. Then that's not to say that like the only good movie, these are movies focused on white dudes who kill people. Right. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. It might seem that way since I'm such a big Scorsese fan. A lot of his films are white guys who kill people. But I watched a couple years after I watched Godfathers, I watched Goodfellas. And then recently I've been trying to watch a lot more foreign films, a lot more films made by women. I think women directors specifically haven't gotten the chance to shine. If your name is not like Sofia Coppola, other than her, like there's not a lot of women filmmakers. Most, I would say, due to sexism. But last night I watched a film by Dorothy Arzner, who is a lesbian filmmaker, a butch lesbian filmmaker from the 40s. And she made a feminist film, again, 1940. I know I'm kind of rambling a bit, but
this is interesting.
Yeah, it was a very interesting film about the male gaze. It was called Dance Girl Dance. It was an early Lucille Ball flick. And it kind of gets hidden in history. We're more when you take film history classes, you're more likely to watch like Mr. Smith Goes to Washington from the 40s or Stagecoach from the 30s, both of which are focused on men. That's not to say they're bad films, but we're primed to think of films about men. Whereas films by and for women tend to get left in the dust. It's gotten a bit better recently. 2023 Barbie was the biggest movie of the year, which was really cool to see. But I do hope that more women filmmakers to continue to get more recognition as things go on.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to see it. Tell me more about where you grew up and kind of where you come from.
I'm from Syosset, New York, which is, pretty up middle class part of Long Island. I was originally born in Staten Island, which is the New Jersey of New York City.
Right.
Everyone hates it. Not not exactly for no reason. But I ended up moving to Suffolk County, which is the east part of New York, and then finally moved to Nassau County, which is more western Long Island. I went to an all-boys Catholic high school.
Really?
Yeah, it was not exactly a fun time for me. For pretty obvious reasons, I think. But I do think, one, it was a very rigorous academic program, which really helped prepare me for college. And secondly, I really sharpened any sort of comedic tools I have. A lot of comedians will tell you that they develop comedy as a defense mechanism. I did as well, whereas other students were very macho. I would develop sort of a comedic persona of almost like a court jester in a way, where they could say anything because they were joking. I would just be constantly slinging out jokes, and that kind of prepared me for the sketch show I run on campus, What's the Point? All the years of trying to be a class clown has somewhat paid off.
Yeah. Well, you're certainly pretty funny, and you write funny material as well.
Thank you. I
Especially
appreciate
for our
it.
sketch comedy show here on campus.
I love it.
That's good. So when you were in kind of senior in high school and then freshman in college, what were you looking for in college? And I guess going into how did you decide on High Point University?
Well, independence for one. I've always been in a rush to sort of, grow up in a way. I wanted a place that was a fair bit from home. Not that I hate my family. I love my family, but there was also a bit of separation I needed. I need to grow to become my own person. And I think I have done that in the last couple of years. I also was very much attracted to the honors program. I know I touched the microphone. I don't know if that came up, but I really liked the idea of having a community, our own dorms, where I could hang out with hopefully some sort of like-minded people. And I did find a good community both in and out of the honors program. That was my main driver. Also, weather's amazing here, which doesn't hurt the case for North Carolina.
Yeah. And then did you know you were going to be a political science and media production major, or what was that journey like for deciding on your majors? I
mean, political science was I think everyone knew I was going to be a political science major since I was 5. Loved presidents, loved learning about history. I was a big reader of history and politics since I was a kid, always trying to stay up with current events. So that was set in stone. Now, media production, we didn't know. I was an actor in high school, so I did have some media exposure. I had a lot of interest in media, but once I got to High Point and I started to help make some films as part of filmmaking clubs, I found a real love for making media, especially the writing part. I helped with camera stuff for a student film. I was part of a screenwriting class with Professor Belante, two screenwriting classes. And I also got an interest in a lot of media theory stuff, which really cemented my love for the major. Of course, we were both in Dr. Trammell's class. And I've actually taken multiple of his sort of media theory classes, which has been a joy. If you are I don't know if he's doing the honors classes again, but if you have the chance to take Doc Trammell's honors class, you got to. It's really great.
Yeah. What's your favorite media theory that you've learned about that you constantly see coming up in your day-to-day life?
Yeah, there's a couple. So I didn't mention at the beginning, but I am part of a professional wrestling studies association, which is scholarly research into professional wrestling. And I have been doing a lot of research into the theories of Theodore Adorno, specifically the culture industry.
Yes.
Sort of this idea that that capitalism sort of turns all sorts of media into sort of same slop that's feeding ideology into us. And I do think that, as I alluded to earlier in our conversation, there is sort of a homogenization of media, specifically trying to turn everything into a franchise. And I mean, I could talk all day about ideology that stuff like Marvel movies are trying to push. I do think, but I do think the main issue I have with a lot of media today is sort of everything looking the same, everything trying to be a franchise. You know, every role with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is the exact same. Sorry, that was just a pot shot at The Rock, but I'm afraid that all media, especially with AI, AI is, whenever an AI creates something, it always feels the same, no matter what genre or style you ask it to put it in. I'm afraid that writers and actors will be supplanted by AI. I don't know if you've seen, but there's an AI actress now. Her name is Tilly Norwood, which I don't know why they named her Tilly Norwood, but I am afraid that all sorts of media will be replaced by AI, just a machine churning out content, which is sort of similar to what Adorno was talking about, only like way more efficient in churning out content. I am not excited for the future AI holds for media. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much on that answer.
No, I always ask, like all the people I interview, I always ask them about how does AI tie into your future industry? Because not just media, everything, especially kind of engineering, computer science as well. But there's definitely an interesting concern for the creative fields.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like the hot topic is like, oh, AI can write a story for you. AI can make a picture for you. But is it truly creative or original? And there's interesting blending happening right now.
Yeah.
Some people are trying to incorporate it. But to your point, it always ends up, to an extent, feeling familiar and something we've seen before.
Yeah.
Which, again, is why I really like K-pop Demon Hunters. Because it feels very fresh.
There's a story from the one of the showrunners of a Netflix TV show called Black Mirror, where he wanted to create an episode written by AI because their whole thing is satirizing tech.
Yeah.
And he said that when he asked like ChatGPT or whatever to write him a script, all it gave him was just previous Black Mirror episodes kind of mashed together. It can't create a new episode of Black Mirror. It can only take old episodes of Black Mirror and try to fit that into whatever topic it's given. I don't think AI can ever really truly be original. I think it can only regurgitate what it's been given. I don't think it can. Whereas humans take what they've experienced, what previous media they've consumed, and try to elevate it. AI can only replicate. Or at least that's my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the aspect of, like, it just raises the bar? Like, the AI is just a new typewriter. So, like...
I mean, the thing is that the typewriter didn't write the scripts for you. When computers were introduced and script writing softwares were introduced, they made it easier to write a script, but they didn't do it for you. I think that where it won't. I think whereas computers and typewriters made it easier for anyone to write a script, now AI is going to make it so that nobody writes a script. It's very scary as someone who loves the art of writing. I'm very scared that it's always going to be cheaper to have a computer do it for you than a writer. It's going to do it worse every time, but I think it could be profitable for corporations to replace writers and actors with computer programs. It'll suck, but I think we as a consumer base have been primed to consume things. And what I fear is that people without any other option will end up going to these AI created movies. It's sort of like what I was saying. I think we've been primed to accept sort of rehashes of old stuff. I mean, in the last decade, there's been a recent trend of a lot more reboots, a lot more franchises, a lot more. I mean, reboots have always been a thing. Remakes have always been a thing. Back to when like Cecil B. DeMille made a remake of his own Ten Commandments. I'm sure there's been other remakes, but I think there's been a lot more remakes of old films recently, and they've not always been bad, but I think we've really been primed to accept rehashes of old stuff, which AI is sort of the logical conclusion to rehashing old stuff.
Yeah. Back to honors. You like the honors program. That's kind of why you chose.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Being on kind of the outgoing end of it, are you happy with your experience in the honors program? And
100%. Actually, I forgot to mention the biggest selling points on the honors program. I did not need to take calculus.
Love it.
I took, I think, math democracy, which is great for a political science major. Still incredibly hard class that I did not great in, but still I could not do calculus. I did everything in high school to avoid doing calculus. So that's good. But also I think a lot of the classes are sort of devoted to thinking differently about things. There's rarely a straight up like here's a class where you get lectured for 15 weeks, go home and do the reading. A lot of classes are focused in student involvement. A lot of will often do our own presentations teaching the material. I know I've had like 3 classes where we do that. We'll have very interesting projects to work on.
What's been your favorite one?
That's a good question. I did love analyzing, for our Dr. Trammell class, I loved analyzing jazz rap, but I also loved in the Spanish Civil War class with Dr. Winkle, I analyzed this film, speaking of women-led film, it was called, now I'm forgetting the film. It's this film about the Spanish Civil War and these sort of women revolutionaries, anarchists, and their relationship. It's very cool, very almost lesbian coded.
Yeah.
A lot of. I do love. I mean, I'm friends with a good bit of lesbians, so I do have a love for lesbian cinema, like Bound by the Wachowski sisters, and. Oh, my friend was just talking to me about But I'm a Cheerleader. I'm getting off topic. The point was I did a very fun analysis of the film.
Spanish Civil War film.
Yeah, the Spanish. I'll tell you if I remember.
That's cool. What can you tell me about this photo?
Where the hell did you find this?
Dr. Hedman.
Dr. Hedman gave it to me. Okay, so I've mentioned that I like trying to be funny, right? So this was during Prague. That's crazy that you found that. So we were at this sort of Romani fair, if I remember correctly. It was it was we went to sort of like this almost like yard sale where we got to pick out these cool clothes and pay what we want for them. I just gave money to. I don't think we even had to pay, but
Yeah.
and I had these weird suspenders. I couldn't put them on because I think they're made for children. And I wanted to take this weird photo. We saw this sign for this bar. It says BDSM, which you know what that means. And if you don't, ask your parents. Don't do that. And I wanted to take the strangest photo I could. Actually, fun fact about that logo for BDSM.
Yeah.
It's apparently a parody of the Czech Communist Party logo.
Oh.
That's what our Czech, like sort of like guides / teachers.
I see that.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember who took that photo now. I don't remember, but whoever it was, thank you.
The funny part for me is like I'm good friends with Tessa, and she's just in the background.
Yeah, Tessa's there too.
Unbothered.
See, I forget.
It was fun. Yeah. So it was fun. You had a fun time in Prague too.
Oh, it was amazing. We went to a bunch of art museums since it's aesthetic inquiry classes. I went to see this surrealist work. This surrealist artist named Jan Svankmajer, who has become one of my favorite directors. If you on YouTube, you should look up Svankmajer or just Alice Czech surrealist. It's this really cool, pretty creepy version of Alice in Wonderland. That's stop motion.
Yeah.
And we also got to see a lot of just Czech art that's old and classic or modern and weird. And if you know anything about my taste in arts, I love modern and weird arts. I have been known to go on passionate defenses of the Duchamp urinal with his name signed on it.
Yes.
I know like half of the people watching was probably rolled their eyes at me.
Wait, so do you think that's art?
Absolutely. I think anything called art is art.
But it's a toilet with just his signature on it.
It's got his name on it. It's got a name on it, not his name. But it was meant, I believe, to sort of critique a lot of art going on then. It was sort of a statement. It was also part of the Dada movement, which I do love, which is very much random shit meant to make you think about what art is. There was something called like cut. I think they were called like cut poetry or cut art, where they would cut out pictures from magazines and let them fall onto paper. And but the thing is that they're aligned so perfectly that it can't be random. And I believe it's supposed to make you think about how the art was made. Does this count as art? Stuff like that. And I think if you are thinking about something, thinking, is this art? You're engaging with the piece, and I think that makes it art. Thinking something's not art makes it art, in my opinion. I don't know if this is like, if I'm sounding insane. I probably am, but I stand by
I'm just
it.
thinking about how this might contradict what you've been saying about AI-generated content in movies.
Well, I mean, AI. Well, it was made by Duchamp, not AI. It is often made. AI makes art with no intention. Duchamp and the rest of Dada had intention. They had critiques of the art world and capitalism.
So an artist defines art.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be quite honest,
but what if someone just makes something and then a decade later someone finds it in my closet and then that person determines something of mine was art? Is that also art?
What do you mean by something? What do you mean by something? Do you mean like your old sock or
Like if I have a personal journal and I just write down my daily life in it,
I mean,
I don't consider that art, but then someone down the line think it's beautiful poetry, similar to like an Emily Dickinson journal or something.
Yeah, I mean,
something that was never meant to be published, but people consider it art.
I mean, it's still, if you're writing poetry in a journal, that's still a creative work. That's still art to some extent. But I see where you're coming from. I just don't like to put restrictions on what art can be. I know I did put a pretty heavy restriction on AI art not being art, but I do very much love and have a need for human created. I think art is something that's really only found in humans, and I don't think it's something, one, an AI can easily replicate, and two, there's no intent by an AI to create art because it cannot have intent. They call it AI, artificial intelligence. It's not even really intelligent. It's just taking your suggestion and basing it off previous data and spitting out something. If what I say is correct, and it very well might not be, that intention to create art creates art, then AI art cannot create art because it has no intention to.
That's one valid take on it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. So I guess we can conclude you're pretty smart.
I wouldn't. No, I don't want to think. I don't like to call myself smart. I do.
You know something or two.
I try to, at least. I try to stay humble.
Yeah. So throughout this, you're a good learner. We'll say that.
Sure.
So throughout the
I'm
senior
good
year,
at book reading.
Yeah.
And the containing information, that doesn't necessarily mean I think everyone has their own skills. I'm very good at reading information and keeping it, but that doesn't mean that, like, if you shove me out into the world right now,
Right.
I would flounder. I'm not.
I share the
yeah.
sentiment.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is great then. Segue to, in your experience, what then is the point of college?
Okay. The first, I think, is to become your own person, to learn new ideas. Your entire life, your whole worldview has, well, not so much anymore because of the internet, but your worldview is often shaped by where you come from, who you interact with, what your school is like. And then when you go off into the real world, the college isn't necessarily the real world, but when you go off to college, you're meeting people from all across the country. And you can learn new perspectives. I will say High Point isn't exactly the most diverse school, so I'm not exactly talking to everyone from all walks of life, but I am meeting a fair bit of people with different experiences.
Yeah.
Even
coming from a different state
absolutely.
is like a different.
It's a completely different.
That was the more shocking, diverse
Yeah.
aspects as well, because I went to a very diverse, like, high boarding
Sure.
school. So, like,
okay.
I had friends from, like, Nigeria and Europe and the UK.
That's awesome, yeah.
But it's like, that was the diversity I valued
Yeah.
and appreciated. But then here, we don't really have as much as that, but we are increasing our international diversity.
That's great.
But they're like, there's just as great quality in
Yeah.
state diversity, because
yeah, absolutely.
the state spectrum of the United States of America is quite diverse.
I do hope we create international diversity. I know there is some things up in the air with current immigration laws.
Yeah.
In that, will they be getting scholarships and stuff? Will they be able to come over? I know Harvard had some pretty bad restrictions put on it by the Trump administration. I don't remember where they're currently at, but I think having people from different countries talk about what their culture's like, what they do, you cannot get better by secluding yourself in your own little bubble.
Yeah.
And that's why I think
Which is a good thing to get in college.
Yes, and obviously, I don't want to act like college is the be all end all. College is not for everyone. Some people will get a lot more benefit by going immediately into working and also not taking a huge amount of debt. But I think that you can get exposed to a lot of more new ideas, of new ways of thinking in college. That's one thing I love about the honors program is that it's very much Dr. Hedman, I believe in his what did he call that class? Colloquium talks about the now I'm forgetting the term for the total a well-rounded education. The something arts,
Liberal arts?
liberal arts. That's it. Liberal arts. Just trying to get well-rounded, science, math, English, history, all that stuff. Some, of course, foreign language, which isn't honors, but we still have to take. I think the honors program is very much trying to give you a well-rounded education. That I don't know how much people outside the program necessarily get or try to get. It's very strenuous. It can be strenuous, but the thing is that the benefits from all these classes you take is that you'll learn new things about the world, learn new perspectives, and you'll get to do things that you may not be able to get in the other core programs. For example, I think you're in 3700 right now.
Yeah.
Honors research, food, I heard.
Yum, yum.
We get to do our own research. We get to choose a research project and spend a year doing it. And it's one of the hardest things I've ever done, but I would not change a thing because I got to learn how to work as a team. We had a team of 4 people work together. We had one goal, and we did great. Yeah.
There you go. That's good. All right. We have one more question for you, which is the leave a question. So the previous guest has left a question for you.
Sure.
And then after you answer it, you will write down a question for the next guest as well.
Awesome.
So the previous guest, I think this is funny for you. If you were an object in Finch, what would it be and why?
An object in Finch?
Yeah.
I would like to be the chairs in
The purple ones?
not the purple ones.
Oh.
Those chairs in the
The red ones.
the break rooms. You know those they're sort of like these.
Yeah.
The thing is, with those chairs, is that if you lean back on them, you will get the best back crack of your life. They're these usually the chairs are like solid. The other ones, they sort of have some give to them.
Oh, yes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, yeah, okay. Those chairs, you know what I would like to give, I would like to spread the joy.
Yes.
That was, I almost lived out of those rooms for the first 2 years of my college career.
You know what also?
Yeah.
What's the ergomaniac purpose?
Yeah,
It
it was the best chair I've ever sat in.
The purple ones in stout.
They're comfy, yeah.
Yeah, you can also crack your back
Oh.
off of those as well. Because
Yeah.
they have that same curve.
Yeah,
thing to them.
those two.
This is a good answer. I like
Thank
that.
you.
I love a good back crack.
There's nothing like it.
It's good. And that you'd serve a great purpose as
Yeah.
the object. All right. I'm going to pass this lovely journal over to you.
Yeah.
You get choose your color. And then, there's other stuff in this journal that you can.
Do I gotta?
Well, you can write it down at the bottom of there. And then date it and initial it, if you will.